Lone Wolf, Alpha Squad, copy over by James Rink. Continued. Chapter 13. One's Own People. The memories were not coming back fast enough, so I started to make video blogs of what I did remember, in the hopes other MyLabs would recognize me and perhaps we could draw upon our gifts to help each other. This ultimately became my Super Soldier Talk video series, which opened many doors. Though it was a though through it I was able to come in contact with many people, some of which were able to point me in the right direction. Many of them were MyLabs, who could still access some of their psychic gifts. In time, I began working with a team of people who could remote view, read Akashic records, and mind hack being behind programming and walls, helping us see what we were prevented from seeing. Through my contacts, I was able to read what was in my file stored in an NSA database. I don't want to believe I am a super soldier. It's easier to think it's not real. In fact, when I recorded the phrase, "Am I a super soldier?" and played it in reverse, I got, "That's not real. I am not supposed to talk about it." Not adopting the reality seemed to be the very thing my subconscious mind was programmed to do. One area of high interest to me was trying to determine why I didn't remember as much as other MyLabs. So I let my friend and MyLab survivor scan me physically. He saw what appeared to be an implant behind my left eye. This makes a lot of sense. I usually get headaches radiate, radiating from that spot. My friend tells me, "Let me try to turn it off." Doubt I can. I know what the device says, though it has letters and numbers. PVS 1-22002. That's what the chip says on it. Can you see who manufactured it? Yes, Braun Incorporated. But there's also a different vein that shouldn't be there. The vein is pumping some kind of drug into your pineal gland or near it in the back. I also see PS 995-897. We couldn't figure out what these codes meant, but ACIO records later revealed these implants control the movement of my legs and arms. I had a remote viewer friend look into it, and he said the PVS 1-22002 stood for 2002 version 22 unit 1, and the PS 995-897 was a serial number. These implants were made by Siemens AG in joint venture with Braun Incorporated. Perhaps this implant is pumping a drug into my pineal gland so that the government can turn my psychic abilities on and off. This may explain why in Alter I can be so telekinetic. I can lift a tank, but when I'm James, the implant is turned on, keeping me docile and weak. They also appear to have the ability to deliver a micro-injection stream of drug cocktails into my body via teleportation, activation points through the implants. Curious for more information, I found the main company website for Braun Incorporated. It was in German, so I channeled some code so that my remote viewing friend could read the German language. And amazingly, he was able to see the German words on the screen as English for a few minutes until the words faded back to German. Apparently, most MyLabs have the ability to read many languages in Alter. I had been told I know at least 19, including French, Spanish, German, Dutch, Russian, and under some circumstances, Japanese, but haven't yet been able to access those abilities as of yet. These abilities are basically downloaded into our brain using the trip chair. There also appears to be an implant in my brain which directs brain waves and impulses corresponding to each other to each alter personality, possibly via satellite. The implant makes me submissive, but somehow I am somewhat able to assert my own independence and try to live a normal life. It's possible my brain will reintegrate on its own, making the billions of dollars of work they've done inert. This is what they don't want me to believe, that I can be free, since being free is really a belief system and can overcome drugs and implants. Not many people can survive the constant abuse of being tortured, raped, mutilated, and injected unless they have the right DNA. According to Sani Sito, the covert government is using me as a test subject because of my reptilian DNA. So I did a little investigating. I found that the injections contain cocktails of drugs and nano injections which attach femtites to the codons of my DNA, causing mutations. This is done to stop my alters from integrating and to stop me from remembering the trauma. I also have other larger implants. Some of these keep me alive. They have become fully integrated with my biological organs in my body. This is known as ascended machine technology. Some implants can also wipe memories. They give us something possibly called CO2 modules. These injections go directly into the bloodstream and to the brain. Cells are modified into thinking you just saw something which you didn't actually see. It uses a process which affects the electromagnetic waveforms to influence behavior. But these memories aren't totally gone. They are just stored in a different place, waiting to be activated. Our aura is a hologram. In some ways, wiping my memories may have been a good thing because my alter is so psychic and powerful that if he integrated with me, he would take over my life and control me. It would be a mess not only for the government, but it would wreak havoc on my personal life. Plus, there has never been a Gen 5 SS that has ever gone rogue, and that makes this kind of talk very dangerous. However, if it's done slowly in a controlled environment, I can take charge of the programming and bring it into balance peacefully. That's if I am allowed the chance to do it. In this next communication, I was given the following information. What? AKA Agent Sabretooth, Silver Class Cosmic Clearance. Used for searches and exterminations, alters activated using a code word, and technology, alters activated using trauma. You are a fifth generation super soldier with metal bones and enough telekinesis to lift an elephant. But your alter is programmed like an attack dog and he does whatever he is told to do. You are on the cleanup crew. Your job is to exterminate people the Cabal doesn't like. You are Jekyll and he is your Hyde. To create these altars, it may look something like this. First, they travel I may be, to wherever I may be by opening up a time-space portal. They then stop time because they aren't working from the same dimensional laws like we are. At that point, they may use some kind of handheld stun weapon. They shine it in my eyes, and which instantly puts me into a trance. No, it's possible to activate yourself without these devices. You just need to go through something that will be extremely painful emotionally. It's all about working with your own chi energy. At this point, they may bring back to a facility for some reason. Remote viewers seem to get the name Jackson's as the facility I am most commonly taken to, but I don't remember this myself, so I can't be certain. The following is from a hypnosis regression I conducted with another MyLab. Next location. I have him try to locate the facility where I am taken to frequently. All I know is it contains the code name Jackson's. He pinpoints a Jackson EL French name located in the Nevada desert, but there are thinks there are clones of me in an underground facility near Detroit and Atlanta. He steps inside one of these facilities. The staff is dressed in white. They are torturing the clones to see how durable they are. They are pinching off their skin, ripping little pieces of their flesh off, drilling screws, mutilating their limbs, and some of them were killed. These poor beings are being tortured beyond imagination. They are in a confused state. Most of them are kept in cages and vaults. Some of them are underwater, breathing with a gas mask. These units are not in service yet. This appears to be the primary way they torture and split our mind while in an avatar body. And this was from another MyLab. I see a group of 6 human personnel doing this. Apparently, they have to do a lot of planning and coordination to manage all these MyLab abductions. One of these individuals seems to have a surname of Barker. I think he was like the coordinator. Another name that came up was Mary. They seem to be testing your DNA to see if your blood was mutating as expected. Another remote viewer saw a different angle on this. He saw me in a facility that is controlled by reptilians. I see your handler. He seems to be the one who created you. He looks like an 8 foot tall reptilian in a white lab coat with a crocodile like snout. He's sitting down on his tail while reading a computer interface. I see a lot of clones of you around him. He's willing to take your sexual pain away if you promise not to procreate. It appears that the only way you are allowed to reproduce is through the clones created by him. Aliens working alongside human personnel in the underground facilities seems to be a recurring theme. Apparently, there are many species of ET involved with this operation, including Greys, Nordics, Reptilians, Syrians, Dracos. Each master will control a MyLab for a short period of time for different types of training before handing them over to another handler. Some MyLabs recall seeing their masters carrying around a laser-like oval baton made out of amethyst crystal, gold, and precious metals, which they use for mind control purposes. Even though MyLabs are controlled by the covert government, aliens participate for their own agendas. Perhaps they view us as a threat to them and want to make sure we don't break ranks. We're often bartered out among different factions of aliens because they are at war with each other and the government, so they think by participating, they can gain info and secretly sabotage the covert government in the process. The following remote viewing session was done by my friend to help me understand what happens in these MyLab abductions. I am not quite sure if this is totally accurate because the robotic greys are usually tasked with the boring, busy work of injecting people. On April 10th, 2012, I woke up with needle marks in my lip and cut marks on my arm. I asked my friend if she could pick up anything physically on what happened. She saw me sleeping on a white couch in the living room, which is true. I slept on the couch that previous night because I was having trouble sleeping on nights they get me. I am usually able to sense what's about to happen and have trouble getting any rest. She sees a woman with a black ponytail and clipboard injecting me and a man nearby monitoring the situation. There also appears to be a cloaked alien entity as well, but she couldn't see what was on the clipboard, so she agreed to let me put her under hypnotic regression to gather more information. She begins by seeing me sleeping in the living room. These people have apparently teleported into my home, and the lady with ponytail shines a white flashing light into my eyes. It puts me into a trance. I don't hear and see what is going on. I stay in a dreamlike state. I was like a robot. When she describes this, I can see the blinking light in my mind. It makes me feel distant and far away. This woman is a handler of some sorts. She doesn't mean me any harm. She is just doing her job. She is living a double life and doesn't realize it. Her job is to monitor my labs. Her civilian name is Janine Marine Waters. She is an attorney in New York and she has two kids. She was wearing a necklace with a pendant which had an upside down triangle with a cross in the middle. She was very young looking, early 30s. Another MyLab survivor tells me, another MyLab survivor tells me, another MyLab survivor tells me, another MyLab survivor tells me. I'm lost. Another MyLab survivor tells me she knows that woman. She looks like the actress Jane Seymour, is middle aged, wears glasses, business suits, and always seems to have a clipboard when she visits other MyLabs. She is the head of the Monarch program and refers to us as pets. She lives a human civilian life but can shapeshift into a Queen Draco, especially when angry, and while in that state, she's an extremely wicked person. She seems to be really upset with us MyLabs. We were getting our memories back and destroying them. The reason they made us was to save them from another race, and now they are losing control over us. On her clipboard was my name in black bold letters. Next to it was my date of birth, but it was blocked. She's not sure why this is the case. Perhaps my birth date is not my birth date. Maybe this means I was de-aged and inserted into my family. She also sees a drawing of my body with arrows pointing to all sorts of locations. In this image, the arrows are pointing to my left arm. The drug they were giving me was called telemediate, tele, telemidi, telemediate. Spelling. It says spelling question mark. And it looks like a liquid green goo and requires a doctor's prescription. Not sure if it was classified. It appears these injections are meant to mutate my DNA, but for some reason they are not taking hold and making me sick over several months. I was suffering from severe flu-like symptoms. This was severe flu-like symptoms. This drug was supposed to help correct the imbalance. I don't know the lights. Sensors. Um, and that one goes. Don't get distracted. Oh my god, too many things to maintain. On her clipboard was my name in black bold letters. Next to it was my date of birth, but it was blocked. She's not sure why this is the case. Perhaps my birth date is not my birth date. Maybe this means I was de-aged and inserted into my family. She also sees a drawing of my body with arrows pointing to all sorts of locations in this image. The arrows are pointing to my left arm. The drug they were giving me was called telemidate, and it looks like a liquid green goo and requires a doctor's prescription. Not sure if it was classified. It appears these injections are meant to mutate my DNA, but for some reason, they're not taking hold and making me sick. Over several months, I was suffering from severe flu like symptoms. This drug was supposed to help correct the imbalance. She also took a sample of my DNA from my lip. At the bottom of the paper were the numbers 40231. Not sure what this code stood for. There was also a man standing next to Janine, but he seemed to be very negative and was under some disguise. His name is General Patrick Gilliand. When my friend looked closer, this man had slits for eyes and seemed to be controlled by a hidden dark being behind him, who showed up when we started poking around. This creature looked very reptilian and was malevolent. I was then teleported to an underground facility. She couldn't get a name of the facility, but it seemed to be operated by another base known as Del Monte Square. In this facility, she saw where they took the DNA sample from my lip. It was a large room that was very cold. On the wall were 500 cryogenic tubes lined up like soldiers. Each tube constrained a frozen body. The compressor read -30 below. The tubes were mostly covered, but each unit contained a small window, and when she looked inside, she saw clones of me. After looking into about 8 to 10 tubes with my body in them, she freaked out and didn't want to look at any more tubes. She couldn't tell how many clones they had of me in there, but it's possible every tube had one. Each tube was labeled with the words ML, a series of numbers 401 or 402. Mm. She then saw where my body was taken for the next 3 hours. I laid unconscious on a table. I was naked but covered up with a white sheet. Not sure what they were doing to me, but at that point, my friend became very fatigued and decided she'd seen enough. So now you have an idea of what happens on a typical abduction. But if they want to activate me and use me for a mission, they will first need to place me in a trick chair to begin programming me. I don't remember what goes on at this stage, but according to another clairvoyant, I see you sitting in a black chair that had a shiny plastic look to it. There are green, high intensity light beams coming from the ceiling and flickering over your head. At this point, they could activate me. Once I am activated, I can go into golden form, which is a state of higher vibration frequency, allowing me to naturally shapeshift and project my consciousness into avatars. When this occurs, my consciousness, but not my soul, animates a cloned avatar of their choice. Again, they can't totally control. They can't totally control my soul. All they can do is take pieces of my thought patterns and insert them into other bodies. In order to attach to the avatar, it needs to contain some of my own DNA. For Earth missions, they usually put me into human-looking avatars, but they can also make reptilian avatars and other beings as well. Each MyLab has about 20 of these avatars, one for each stage of our lives. They are stored underwater in tubes lined up along corridor about 1,000 to 2,000 feet long. It's so huge that it takes a long time to turn all the lights on. I had someone remote view these avatars, and apparently they are called Sibius and Arbius. Sibius might be asked on the world Suibaz, and that is from the Proto-Germanic root sui, meaning one's own people. Arbius probably stands for aerial reconnaissance between unmanned souls, though in a slang dictionary, Arbus means ass raped by Uncle Sam, which is probably a more fitting definition. I've been told most of my clones created by the covert government have been eliminated due to going rogue. However, a few of them remained off-world. It is these avatars which contain metal bones, levitate, shapeshift, or fly exotic craft for the Air Force. Everyone that I have talked to who has seen me in MyLab operations basically say I appear totally different. While doing Earth-based combat missions, I appear to have the same facial expression, but I am bigger and stronger. I am about 6'5", muscular, extremely strong, have metal bones, a glass helmet, a red left eye Terminator heat-seeking device with the right eye normal. The following is testimony from another survivor who has seen these beings. James, I recall levitating while leading a group of them into a training operation. This happened twice. We had some kind of black alien skin-tight outfit. There were some reptilians grinning at me from below. They know what I am like and how tricky I make things. You looked very bulky and tall and wear armor and what looks to be glass hardware. These things are powerful in a confrontation, and some of them have that red. Oh, I can't see something. They're not getting enough light in here. It's not easy to read. Confrontation, and some of them have that red eye. There were also a group of reptilians who are small in size. Some were involved. Your eyelid may have a small implant attached. I thought the group was a new online army that they had put out. I must admit, very impressed. And the back of my mind, I was thinking, what am I going to do with this lot? They were very impressive fighters, so I must have been training the group in stealth. The second time I saw them was for war patrols. Both times, James, you were wearing the same uniform. I don't have the energy. Oh my God. I can't do this. I have to bail on page 180 because all systems are kind of just not getting enough sleep. To be continued.